And what about what you said about Renee Good after she was shot and killed? You appeared on CNN and you were asked whether you believe the shooting was justified, and you replied, quote, absolutely. If you're scared of Renee Good going 2 miles an hour in a freaking minivan, you are the biggest snowflake in the world if you put a bullet in an American citizen like that. Do you regret that statement as well, Senator? It's very clear that an officer had to make a split decision in that case as a car was running towards him and did strike him. At that point, that car becomes a lethal weapon. And the officer that there was another officer obviously giving her verbal commands. So are you saying, and I apologize for interrupting you, but you're saying you do not regret that statement? I'm saying that the investigation is going on, but there is no investigation, Senator. It's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. We're about to get a new Homeland Security Secretary, and Ken Casey of Dropkick Murphys called it. The guy is a snowflake. He talks about fellow senators deserving to get assaulted. He pounds his chest and brags about deploying on fake secret missions. He acts like a schoolyard bully in Senate hearings. Remember this? You want to do it now? I'd love to do it right now. Well, stand your butt up then. You stand your butt up. Oh, hold on. Stop it. Is that your solution every now? Sit down. You're clear now. Okay. You're a United States Senator. This is a guy whose entire persona celebrates bullies, like the ones who murdered Alex Prey and Renee Good. Meanwhile, anytime he's actually faced real danger or the opportunity to risk something in service of others, he's found a way out. Here he is in the House chamber during the January 6th insurrection defending. It appears a bunch of empty benches as the real heroes of that day defend him. In a second, I'll share my conversation with one of those heroes, Mike Fanone. But back to Senator Mullin, the tough guy who talks about the smell of war in your nostrils, yet somehow found a way to sit out the longest wars in America's history in Iraq and Afghanistan. Trust me, veterans can smell this kind of fraud a mile away, and so can Senator Peters. This exchange is brutal. On March 2nd of this year, you told Fox News interview, quote, war is ugly. It smells bad. If anybody has ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happening around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something you will never forget. On March 3rd, in a podcast interview, you stated, quote, I did special assignments outside of DoD. I think there's a misunderstanding here that I could clear up. If you want me to clear up for you, please. Okay. So, this is official trip and it is classified. But in 2015, I was asked to train with a very small contingency. And like I said, that was an official trip that is classified. This is an official trip while you were a member of Congress. Yes, that 2015, 2016, I was a member of Congress, and some of it may be public, but it would be very small. Most of it because of my recollection, which we're going back 10 years. I think there's only 4 people read in on it. So where did you smell war? Sir, I just said that this was classified. We know this guy. He's usually the one alone at the bar, craving attention, talking about how the missions he did were so secret there's no record of them. But in this case, thanks to John Fetterman, who provided the last vote to get Mullin out of committee. That loser at the bar, who every vet is secretly laughing at, is about to become the Secretary of Homeland Security. We spent a lot of time here covering the previous Secretary, Christine Nome, to expose the incompetence and cruelty she brought to the department. I'm not convinced that it's going to be any better under Mark, Wayne Mullin. He has signalled no intention to deviate from the brutal policies of his predecessor and his whole persona of bullying, and performative masculinity is the antithesis of the professionalism we need restored to federal law enforcement. And remember, ISIS budget has not been constrained. They got more money in the last round of appropriations than the US Marine Corps, and they're going to spend it. We're going to keep shining a light on that, on the brutal tactics, the violations of fundamental human rights, and especially the massive investment in these inhumane camps that concentrate detainees. I had an extraordinary opportunity last week to talk with 3 people who have led the fight against ICE. Mike Fanone, who defended the Capitol on January 6th, epitomizes professionalism. His example is such a stark contrast to those ICE agents who give law enforcement a bad name. Ken Casey is the front man for Dropkick Murphys, a punk band that has not been shy about calling out the abuses of the Trump regime. And Seth Moulton, who I've been friends with since before he was first elected, is now running for the Senate in Massachusetts. And he's the member of Congress who shifted the conversation from abolish ICE to prosecute ICE. That's a sentiment every Democrat needs to get on board with. Here's me, Seth, Mike, and Ken in Boston, a city that is next on ICE's target list. Ken, that is how to do a Dropkicks concert in Boston on St. Patrick's Day week at the MGM Theatre right next to Fenway. You must be feeling pretty pumped right now, especially that set leading up to Citizen ICE. I mean, that is a statement that this city needs to hear. Well, every city needs to hear it. The whole country needs to hear it. There's a lot of people, Bruce. Everyone's been doing, protest stuff, which I love. But, it needed a hardcore song, right, Mike? Yo, that brings a little bit different intensity and energy to it. And that's what we're all about. And Seth, 100 new vehicles showed up at the ICE facility here in Massachusetts. Something's coming, right? It's one of the reasons I went to Minneapolis. Not just to see what was going on the ground, but to make sure we're prepared here in Massachusetts, because there's a lot of people who think they could come here. Yeah. And then, Mike, you've been on the tip of the spear as a law enforcement officer. You know what professional law enforcement looks like. How do you feel when you see ICE doing what they're doing, especially in a place like Minneapolis where Ken's been, where Seth has been, and I'm sure it guts you. No one hates a bad cop as much as a good cop. It pisses me off. I mean, it pisses me off because I know what the lasting effects of what's happening today on the streets here in this country, and how it's going to adversely impact the relationship between, like you said, good law enforcement officers, good law enforcement agencies, and the communities that they're charged with protecting and keeping safe. People are watching what's happening. They're seeing the way that these ICE agents, CBP agents, are conducting themselves, and they're painting law enforcement with a broad stroke. And that, like I said, is going to adversely impact those relationships. And every good cop knows that you're only as good as the relationship that your agency that you have with your community. It's Ken Harbaugh. What you're about to see in this trailer for the upcoming Midas Defense documentary, Drone Hunters of Corone, is real combat footage shot by me and my crew in Ukraine. Over the past few years, I've gone back to the front again and again, embedding with Ukrainian suicide drone crews and anti-drone units, from rooftops overlooking Kiev to the Black Sea coast to trenches outside Harrison. That access didn't come easily. It took time and a level of trust that gets built by showing up when others won't. Drone Hunters of Corone is the culmination of that work. A documentary that puts you inside the units that are writing the playbook for the battlefields of the future. What these crews are doing right now in Ukraine, the tactics, the technology, the bravery, has direct bearing on what American forces are facing in the Middle East today. This is the future of warfare, and it's not theoretical, it's happening now. That contest between who gets who first, do they get the drone or does the drone get them? We're that close to the front. There's a rubble everywhere, but people are still surviving. We just got an alert that there is a wave of 12 flying in over the Black Sea. That's the amazing thing about this war. It's a blend of trench warfare and Terminator. Yeah. Ken, talk to us about accountability. This merch is pretty much a punch in the face. It's a wake-up call. I hope that we see them all in jail someday for their actions. Listen, nothing. It was never about immigration. It's about for-profit prisons. Why are they building all these private prisons if we're going to send everybody home? It's about control. It's about, a private army for Donald Trump. And it's about making money off locking up immigrants. And the Dropkick Murphys have been telling the immigrant story our whole career. And especially Irish Americans who came here and, because of, they're able to ascend and be via the labor movement and be able to get into the political system and everything and ascend to the middle class in a few short generations to forget how they got here. It just sickens me to think, oh, we'll close the door behind us. You know what I mean? And listen, I don't think anybody doesn't agree that, you know, sensible immigration control policies are necessary, but the Republicans don't even want it because they want to be able to run on this fake platform of immigration so they can control people, so they can, you know, execute people on the street. If you think that if you're scared of Renee Good going 2 miles an hour in a freaking minivan, you are the biggest snowflake in the world if you put a bullet in an American citizen like that. So we'll keep the energy up and you can all come after us. I don't give a, because we're just speaking the truth, okay? So I don't care if we lose all our fans. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Dropkick Murphys, we want to put our head on the pillow and know we did the right thing in this moment. And that's what we're doing. And guess what? People are reacting well to it. You know, they think that the whole world thinks that like MAGA is so many people because they're so loud and obnoxious, but they're angry minority of people that are just making a shitload of noise. So we're trying to make equal noise and let people know, speak up, don't be afraid of this. And let's get back to freaking being kind to each other, taking care of people. My politics are considered radical. Let's take care of each other. What's so radical about that, you know? Yeah. Follow the law. Yeah. Yeah. Seth, I want you to have the last word. Sorry. Sorry, get out of here. You're good. You're good. Prosecute ICE is not just a catchphrase, it has teeth behind it. And as a member of Congress, it's not just a slogan, it's a promise. It is, you know, and that's why I started saying it's not enough just to say, let these guys ride off into the sunset. You know, Corey Lewandowski and Kristi Noem taking a horseback ride, abolished from ICE. We need to prosecute these guys. You cannot enforce the law if you think you're above it. And that's the message that everybody should get in a country where nobody is supposed to be above the law, plain and simple. Ken, hell of a concert. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, thank you. Michael Fern coming to see the Dropkick Murphy since 1996. Love this video, support independent media and unlock exclusive content. Add free videos and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.